Alright, the next video is about growling with the intent to bite or attack. I've seen litters where puppies are around the food bowl and some of them are a little bit more possessive about the food than others, and they sometimes go growl, and then when another puppy comes close by they go ruff, and then sometimes they bite them, sometimes even harder than they should. Now it can happen in your house too. There's no other puppies, you just have the one, and sometimes there are dogs that have some growling issues and they sometimes attack. So this can make you or your children a little afraid of the dog. So because there are so many options that are available of why they do this, we have to figure out what's going on. Why is the dog doing this and when is it happening? So for example, I had a person a couple of years ago who was wondering why his dog was showing signs of aggression. They were growling and then coming to a point where they were biting. And this was upsetting for the family, of course. It's very sad when a dog has that issue. So we spoke for about 20 minutes. We found out that actually the reason the dog was growling was it happened mainly in the area of the food bowl, which immediately light bulb went up. I'm like, okay, something's up with the food. The dog was near the food, it was eating, and as soon as you reached down to the food bowl, the dog would growl, and if you did not move your hand away, you would get a snap on your fingers. What happened was they were underfeeding their dog in this case. Now, I'm not saying that that's the solution to all, but this was the particular case. So they were not giving the dog enough food. So the dog was always hungry. It was so protective of its food that it was like, well, this is the only thing I'm going to have. If they take this away, I'm going to be even more hungry. So they were just eating it. They were scarfing it down, and they were just worried that that it was not going to be there next time. So they were actually underfed. So that was one of the reasons why this dog was growling and being irritated throughout the day, because it was always hungry, and it snapped. You know, a hungry man is a grumpy man. So you have to feed your dog, and that's why I started telling everybody, make sure that by the end of the day there's always food left, so you never have this issue. Unless your dog is a dog that will not stop eating, right? There are some exceptions. There are a few dogs that just cannot control what they eat. So sometimes you just have to say, okay, that's enough, buddy. And they'll be fine because obviously they have enough. But in most cases, if the dog knows there's always food, they don't have to be worried about it. So it's one less thing for them to worry about, so they don't worry about there's not enough food, because there always is. Now, obviously, there's lots of other reasons that a dog may be growling. So one of the things could be they're annoyed or afraid. And you have to be fair and honest and look at the situation. Why is my dog growling, and in what situation is this happening? Is it annoyed by us as a family? Maybe you have a lot of kids or a lot of busyness around the house, and the dog is just a bit overwhelmed and just kind of annoyed by always people kind of agitating them. It can be that your kids kind of poke your dog a lot, and you know, I don't blame the dog. That might be really annoying, and you may have to tell your kids to stop doing that. It could be afraid. Afraid of new things, and often this comes down to you haven't exposed your dog to enough social life. It's a lack of attention. Maybe you're not exercising or walking your dog enough. It could be that when you go outside that they just are unfamiliar and afraid of other dogs. So sometimes when you walk your dog and your dog starts growling at another dog or a person, yes, it can be that they sense something wrong, but in a lot of cases, if it happens on a regular basis, they're just a bit of afraid. So when a dog is afraid, they can either hide behind you or try to go away from the dog, or it can protect itself. And usually it's fight or flight in this kind of situation. So sometimes they will just growl. They may not attack, but you want them to stop. So sometimes having a little tug on their, no, sit, make them sit, stuff like that can happen. But often the main source of this is a lack of socialization, a lack of exercising in these cases. Now, again, there are other situations or other circumstances that they may be growling. So it could be a food sensitivity. Maybe food is not sitting well. It could be just not feeling well. Something is not right. It could be a skin irritation. Maybe it has some irritation. So when you touch the dog just responds agitated. So that could be one of the things. So if you think that, if you gently touch the dog's skin, they start to growl, it could be that they're a bit sensitive there. Maybe they have joint pains, and hip pains. Anything, organs, something is not sitting well. It's like us. Sometimes if we have something not right in our body, you don't always want people to touch you and poke you either, because you're sore, and a dog can't tell you, hey, will you please stop this? No, they sometimes don't know how to react, so they go, stay away, it hurts, right? So you may have to go to your vet and find out maybe there's something not in the right place. So that could be a cause of this, of course. Another thing could be allergies, which is not the same as a pain in the body, but just something is agitating, something is reacting. Again, it could be food. So you may have to check different foods in this case if you think it's an allergy, or when your vet says it was an allergy, and hopefully he will make a suggestion of what you can do, of what kind of different food you can give in this case. Now, the other thing can be, and this is sometimes hard to face, a puppy can just be unhappy in general. Maybe the home that you have provided for your dog is not the right home for your dog. Whatever you do, the dog senses something around its environment. It's just, in general, not happy there. It's sad. It could be you try all you want. There's something that just the dog is not happy about. In that case, sometimes you may have to rehome your dog because you can't seem to provide a proper or a happy environment for it. Obviously, if you don't want to do this, and then I highly recommend you go over my 7 principles for success in dog training, and you have to follow up and do what I tell you in those 7 steps. Last but not least, when they do that, when they growl, don't ever make it worse. Don't agitate them. Don't use like a squirt gun to make them stop, because this only makes it worse. You have to stay calm and be firm, be the alpha, and tell them what to do, and they have to follow. By being the alpha, you show them, I'm in charge, you need to listen up. So that is another way of making them stop as well. So whatever you do, don't make it worse. Don't agitate them anymore. Don't poke them, don't squirt them, don't do anything like that. Instead, try to figure out and be honest with you and your family. Why is my dog doing it? And usually from there, I have given you most of the options out there that I can think of, and hopefully this will solve your problem if that's a situation you may have in a home. So good luck, and we'll see you in the next video.